afternoon and welcome to the North American Bear Center. We're starting really quite promptly here at 4 o'clock because Holly and Honey have started the program early. There's some things that are just unscripted around here. And for those of you here at the North American Bear Center, I want to say thank you for coming here to the Bear Center for our 4 o'clock enrichment. And this podcast and my voice is being heard worldwide with the help of many, many volunteers around the world, moderators, contract moderators, and most importantly, what we call a PTZ driver. I'll explain that in a minute, but I'd ask those people on the deck to try to be quiet as much as possible. The small bear right here by the tree, her name is Holly Bear. And we are trying very hard to introduce her to our other bears. And if you've been out here for about 10 or 15 minutes, she's been treed by Honey Bear, the bear to the far right, at least twice in about the last 15 minutes. If you make noise on the deck, she's going to jump and more than likely will eventually run to the woods. And then we don't get pictures, nor do we get to see her. But I want to comment about who the PTZ driver is. The PTZ driver is a person that manages the camera that's located on the deck, on one of the pillars up on the deck. And that camera can see far left, far right, and straight forward. They can pan the entire area, tilt, go up and down, and zoom in and out. That person does that remotely from any location in the world, and I may be giving them directions as I speak. So here's my first direction to the PTZ driver. PTZ driver, we have Holly pretty much at the base of the pat tree, and we have Honey Bear toward the food shed near the fence. They're both females. We have Honey, who's an 18-year-old female and always been a captive bear. And we have Holly, who's a yearling, 18 months old, born to a wild mother, orphaned at a very, very early age, separated from her mother via a wildfire, and subsequently came here to the Bear Center in late December. She came out of hibernation in April, early April, had a few health issues that we clarified and worked with our veterinarian, who's just fabulous, and he cleared her to come out in the 2.5 acres on May 30th. Since May 30th, we have been working diligently to try to integrate her with the other bears. And I have to tell you, between 2:30 Ely time and 3 o'clock Ely time, Lucky and Holly put on a fabulous show. Lucky and Holly seem to have got some type of relationship going here where they played together between 2:30 and 3. They were racing around the pond. They played Ring Around the Rosie around a number of trees. I will say that Lucky did tree her, Holly, a couple of times up this tree here, which we call the pat tree. He did tree her a couple times. Didn't look serious, but he did kind of tell her he's a little older and bigger than her. But interestingly enough, she'd come down from the tree and went right back for more. And she'd go right up to him and he'd notice it, and there's the chase all over again. So a big breakthrough today at 2:30. Many of you who may have been viewing on the pan, tilt, and zoom camera may have seen that. I went on to one of the Facebook pages called Bear Chat Picture Place. There's already videos up there about those encounters in 2 parts. I have to tell you, some of our worldwide volunteers, as well as our followers, are absolutely fast and fabulous at getting videos of what goes on here, whether we're watching or not. Honey bear is a black bear, for those of you that are wondering. You say, well, she's not black, so she can't be a black bear. Well, that's not true. She's just as much of a black bear as little Holly bear. She just happens to be a cinnamon phase black bear. If you notice on her backside, or down her spine, there, Honey cannot climb anymore, but you can sure scare Holly. At about 380 pounds to Holly's 92, there's a big difference. And one of the things in the wild is that yearlings like Holly, it can be a tough life as a yearling in the woods, because you're always getting treed by bigger bears. I'll let all that just speak for itself. Holly was playing with the rope, and Honey said, no, you're not going to do that. I'm going to put you back in the tree again, just so you know who's the boss around here. It's me, Holly, Honey Bear. We got a few people out here taking some pictures. Which is, oh, now we've got Holly Bear coming down. She feels safer. I don't know how long that's going to last. But if you notice, Holly Bear is eyeing Honey. Holly really wants to come down for some more food, but not too sure if it's safe for her to do that. And now Holly just ran back to the tree because I believe she saw someone in the viewing windows. And that's okay for you people on the main level in the viewing windows, that's okay. But she gets nervous, she doesn't understand who you are. Or she may have just seen her shadow. Not real sure. For those of you on the deck, you can see on Holly's back that she's got some light, well, actually it's brown hair, fur, a little matted. Well, that's all. Here we go again. Honey's concerned that Holly just isn't getting the message, I think. So we got to tree her again, just to make sure Holly understands. But this type of activity would happen in the wild. It's nothing particular to the North American Bear Center, Honey or Holly. You are witnessing how the life is of a yearling in the wild. A little bit about female bears in the wild. Typical female around the Ely area will have about 6 or 7 miles of territory that she defends. And when another bear comes into her territory, she may shoo them away. But if that female becomes pregnant, she has cubs in January, late January. When she comes out of the den, she stays with her cubs, or rather the cubs stay with her for 18 months. After 18 months, the mother bear shoos her cubs away. One day she's a mother and the next day she's not. She goes on to look for a mate, and the yearlings fend for themselves. But what's interesting, if the mother has, let's just say, 2 cubs, one male and one female, she actually grants part of her territory The mother bear actually grants some of her territory to her female cub or yearling. She grants nothing to the males. The males are sent away from her territory and really not allowed to stay, but she does allow her daughters part of her territory. For the PTZ driver, just information, it has started to rain here. We're getting a definite gusts of wind. So I think it's raining now for about the third time here today. Just an observation, when honey bear gets to the far right of the scale, holly bear seems to want to come down from the tree and try to eat. When honey bear gets on the other side of the scale, toward the viewing area, holly bear makes a run for the tree. Holly bear is a little apprehensive right now. She's got her ears back, looking around, figuring out, how am I going to navigate with this big female here? How am I going to get food? Food is a big driver and motivator for bears. Sometimes they'll pick safety over food. Other times they'll pick food over safety. This is one of the longest times that I've seen Holly now spend with honey bear out here. Far left, PTZ driver, we have Lucky.
No.
We have Lucky toward the creek. PTZ driver, Lucky, is at the creek. Holly bear up the tree. Honey bear by the scale. PTZ driver, we have Lucky and Holly at the pack tree. Lucky's cruising like he always does. Lucky is kind of a drive-by kind of guy. Just passing through and look out, something's going to happen. As I said, the females run the show. That was a fabulous demonstration of bear behavior. If there's any doubt in your mind who's running the show out here, I'll help you out. It's the cinnamon phase black bear, Miss Honey. She really didn't want Lucky around, and she kind of told him so. He wasn't overly scared. He just kind of moved around her, if you saw that. He moved up around the rock den, kind of minding his own business. But Honey's a bear that really prefers about 20 to 30 feet between her and another bear. And when she doesn't get her way, she makes her concerns known. Now Holly bear up in the pack tree could stay there for a long time if she wanted to. PTZ driver, I'll give you the locations of all three bears. PTZ driver, we have Holly in the pack tree at about the 15-foot level. We have Honey right in the center of the viewing area. And we have Lucky bear toward the food shed. Honey has always been a captive bear. I'm not sure if I said that earlier. Lucky here, to my far right, he's a 7-year-old male and has a similar history to Holly bear. He was born of a wild mother and orphaned at a young age. And we have had Lucky here since he's been 7 months old, since July of 2007. And Honey treated Lucky about the same way. She did not show any motherly instincts toward him. She just basically told him who the boss is. He has a very, shall we say, happy-go-lucky an inquisitive personality. Just minding his own business, eating peanuts in a shell, and here we go. One more time. Honey Bear is at the bottom of the pat tree with Holly at about the 15-foot level. As always, take as many pictures or as video. The quieter the group is, other than my voice, the better. It helps for everybody's enjoyment, and it can make for a great show, as well as some bear interaction and educational learning. As I said, probably 10 or 15 minutes ago, our goal here is to integrate Holly into this 2.5 acres of natural woods. We have a total of 4 bears. You only have 3 out right now, but that's in Holly's best interest that she learns to navigate 1 or 2 bears at a time, and she's really stepping up. She's gaining confidence about what she has to do and how can she relate to these other bears and still get food and figure out her standing here in the 2.5 acres. The 2.5 acres, as I said, is all natural except for 3 waterfalls and the pond. And they are basically free to roam. The only bear we do not have out right now is Ted Bear. He was out much earlier today. Ted just recently, in the last couple days, has seemed to take an interest in Holly. We're not really sure, but in the last day or two, we're beginning to think that. Look at Lucky Bear watching Holly, and here goes Honey. Honey's got to navigate 2 bears right now. If she's going to control the situation, she needs to keep an eye out for Holly, keep her treed, and you look on her other side for Mr. Lucky over here. So Honey's got her work cut out for her. Holly has a great opportunity to watch what's going on. Nope, we're going to get someone else treed. Lucky wasn't doing anything, but he's just a little too close for Honey's comfort, and she'd really like him to leave. She wasn't serious. That was kind of like, hey, you're irritating me. I wish you kind of sort of would leave. If Honey meant it, Lucky would have been moving. Lucky actually could run a little faster than Honey, so she more than likely wouldn't catch him. But as you can see, he just kind of looked at her and was like, oh yeah, okay, whatever, and kept eating his nuts. Now I suspect Honey on. That's just my guess. Looking for food. We did not put any food out there for this 4 o'clock, but she's not sure about that, so she's maybe going to take a look. She might find a few scraps. I'm going to close out this podcast today and allow the people on the deck. And by gosh, you're not getting wet because the deck is covered. That's great. I'm going to let you watch, hopefully quietly. For PTZ driver, we have Honey coming up behind Lucky. No, I take that back. She's probably going to cruise far right, out of sight. For the PTZ driver, what we have right now, it is again starting to rain. We have Holly Bear in the pat tree coming down. We have Ted over here toward the food shed. And Honey Bear is moving out of sight. I want to thank all you people for attending the 4 o'clock enrichment. It was far more than I anticipated. These types of activities and interactions, you can't script them. They just happen. Our goal here is to work with what we see and what our bears give us for interaction, and we make every effort to interpret what you see correctly, because we know there's many myths and misperceptions about black bears. And if you go into the exhibit hall, you can read about many, many myths and misperceptions about black bears. We're open today until 7 o'clock. We have over 60 videos for you to watch, as well as 2 BBC documentaries about the life's work of Dr. Lynn Rogers. Both of those BBC documentaries were filmed here in the Ely area, one in 2010 and the other one in 2012. I'm going to sign off and allow you to watch the interaction between the bears out in the viewing area right now. And we are ending this podcast with both Lucky and Holly directly in the viewing area, and Honey has moved off beyond the food shed. I want to thank the volunteers and especially the PTZ driver, who we kept very busy the last 25 minutes, catching all the action. Thank you very much. Look forward to talking to you all tomorrow at 11 o'clock a.m. Ely time.